Ford is already busy dropping a little bit of information for the upcoming Ford Super Duty. If you don't remember, this truck got redesigned for the 2023 model year, and it was a pretty big hit because they crossed over 500 horsepower, 1,200 pound-feet of torque. They did updates to the gas 7.3 liter. They added a 6.8 liter. So they were busy. They had a lot of great tech features that they added as well. The STX package got a lot better. And for the 2027 model year, we're probably going to see a refreshed truck, new powertrains or updated powertrains, and possibly even a hybrid system. So it's going to be a pretty big year for 2027 for the Super Duty. We'll probably see a new lineup of GM trucks too, at least testing for sure. But I want to read an article to you guys. I found this on Car and Driver, and this is some good news if you have been waiting for the upcoming Super Duty, because now they're adding a package that we kind of know about, and I want to go over with you guys right now. You probably might be wondering, where the heck are you? I am in the back of a van, and actually, as I was saying that, I'm like, that doesn't sound good. No one kidnapped me. We actually rented this Class B van, and if you do like this type of content, I did do some videos on this. So let's go ahead and jump into the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's see what Ford is up to.
So here's the title. 2027 Ford Super Duty now lets you put 35-inch tires on most trucks. That is already big news. Now, this is not a refresh truck. It's probably a 2025 or earlier pickup here. But it says down below, Ford's line of F-Series trucks is the best-selling vehicle in the United States. And while the majority of those sales are the light-duty F-150, the bigger and burlier Super Duty is still an incredibly popular choice for those seeking more capability from their pickup. Now, Ford has announced several updates to the Super Duty lineup for 2027, expanding the availability of desirable packages and trims to more variants of the heavy-duty trucks.
So here's what I'm going to tell you guys really quickly. Ford's packaging strategy is very strategic. I like it on some trucks and hate it on others. I'm just being honest with you. And what I mean by that is, if you're looking at a Tremor, you can now get a middle of the road package, which works perfectly, because if you want the torsion front axle, if you want full drive auto, and a few other niceties that it gives you for like the interior, well, that package gives you a lot of those goodies. However, if you're looking at a Platinum or Lariat, sometimes they'll give you very oddball features that you only can get in a high equipment group packages, basically. So I'm interested to see what Ford is going to do with the Super Duty. I hope they don't play the same games, but that could be a problem. However, I want to keep reading because you guys saw in the title what they're trying to do here. And I think that this is perfect for the Super Duty.
The Tremor badge adorns much of Ford's SUV and truck lineup these days, from the compact Maverick pickup to the 3-row Expedition SUV. While the Tremor package has been available on the Super Duty since 2020, the upgrades are now offered on a wider range of configurations. And one thing I'll add is, the Super Duty was the first Ford to have that Tremor badge and made it really, really popular. Now, it goes on to say, buyers can now spec the Tremor package on the XL trim with the STX appearance package, which adds 35-inch Goodyear Wrangler Durtrack tires, a lifted suspension, an electronic locking rear differential, skid plates, trail control, and a rock crawl mode. The Tremor package can also now be paired with crew cab models with a longer 8-foot cargo bed, something Ford says customers have been asking for.
This is all common sense. I never understood why Ram tried so hard to make the Power Wagon such a purpose-built truck. And even for Ford with the Tremor, not having the long bed configuration never made sense, because most people buying the Tremor package are probably not doing it because they plan on going off-road, but because they want to have the look of the truck. Like, for example, I ran 38-inch tall tires on my AT4X. Now, I do occasionally go off-road with my truck. Sometimes if we want to go down a nice beaten path to see some great views, my wife and I will do that. But the reality is, it's very rare that I do that with my truck. So adding the 8-foot bed option is just common sense. And I can't wait to see this truck with that lifted look with the 35-inch tall tire, because long bed trucks do look good with big tires. And I will add, they probably should add a better package Tremor, like a Tremor X package, right? And basically give that truck 37s for the standard bed truck. But again, they still should do it for the long bed as well.
The XL variant also gained a model-specific off-road package in 2023. I've done quite a few videos on those trucks that eschews the Tremor's decals and adds 33-inch tires, electronic locking, rear diff, and skid plates for just $995. But customers, specifically arborists, forestry workers, mining engineers, and utility crews, according to Ford, said they required even more ground clearance. So Ford is now launching the XL Off-Road 35-inch tire package, which, you guessed it, adds chunkier rubber. It also brings a taller ride height, a limited slip front diff. That's probably the biggest, gain is that. I think having that over an open diff is a huge game changer if you do go in really bad spots. The locking rear diff, Ford does a good job with that already. The upgraded dampers that the Tremor package gives, trail control, trail turn assist, rock crawl mode, and skid plates for the transfer case and fuel tank. This is a big one too. So if you are someone that sometimes does go in those areas where rocks could be a little bit sharper and they could come into contact with that fuel tank, you do have that added protection. The previous off-road package now gets renamed to indicate its inclusion of 33-inch tires. Ford also says that customers have been begging for the ability to make their upfitted F550s more luxurious. So for 2027, the top of the line Platinum trim can now be paired with the F350, 450, and 550 chassis cab. Ford says that order books for the 2027 Super Duty will open in May, with pricing for these packages expected to be announced closer to the on-sale date.
I think that Ram is in trouble. If you think about the 2019 to 2023 cabin chassis, I think in 24 you could not order the limited trim in the cabin chassis. I could be wrong, but I know from 2019 to 2023 you could. And during the pandemic, I did a video on a gray, and I'll never forget it because this truck definitely got a lot of attention when I posted the video. I want to say within minutes of me posting it, someone reached out to the dealership to try to buy it. The truck was already sold, but the guy was willing to pay over and pay the customer who ordered the truck to take his order because he needed a truck right then and there, and that's exactly the one he wanted. It was a limited Ram 5500. It was in granite crystal. You can probably search it on my channel. I think I did it back in 2021 or 2, I believe. But yeah, you can no longer get the limited trim in the Ram trucks. But now Ford has decided to strategically steal market share from Ram because they're now adding the Platinum trim, which in my humble opinion is good enough for me, especially with the bigger cab that Ram has refused to refresh. And you can't get the mega cab with the 45 and 5500, and that's, in my humble opinion, still silly. And if you look at it on the GM side of things, you can now get the Ford Super Duty Tremor in an 8-foot bed. It used to just be AT4, 3500, 2500. Same thing go for the Silverado Trail Boss HD. You can get the 8-foot bed in those trucks. Now Ford has decided to take a little bit of market share from them. So now you can get a Ford Super Duty Tremor with the long bed and 48-gallon fuel tank with a skid plate. This is very, very good news for Ford guys. I know a lot of people complain about not having the option to have an 8-foot bed on the Tremor package trucks, and it does not make sense, and Ford is seeing that. So now they're just potentially trying to find ways to prolong not refreshing this truck, because it costs a lot less for them to not have to deal with this right now because the competition is not that strong from GM and Ram. And as you guys know, GM doesn't really offer a competitor for the 4500 and 5500 class of trucks because you get the old international body, you get that big international body, which looks pretty cool in the exterior, but the interior is like from 2014 or 15 basically. So it's not a really nice truck when you're comparing it with these newer Ford Super Duty. So right now, yes, Ford is definitely knocking out some business from its competitors right now. And because they still have the most horsepower and torque with their gas and diesel powertrains, they're at the top of the food chain. And now they're making better decisions on how they're packaging their trucks because everyone wants the big tires. Everybody wants 35s. And at some point, they might even start offering 37s for the Super Duty as well. So we'll have to wait and see how that all works out. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think that Ford's going to skip out on a refresh for 2027? I hope not. Personally, I like the 2020 to 2022 Super Duty. I think Ford did go backwards from those trucks. They were the best. And I will say, you guys think that I'm a fanboy of GM or Ram, whatever. If I can go back and do it all over again, I would have ordered a 2022 Ford F350 Tremor in that model year, because that is the best looking truck, in my opinion, from Ford. And I would almost say that I like it better than the Ram and the GM trucks too. But yeah, we'll have to see what they do, because this 23 to 26 truck is a little stale for the exterior. They got to do something to it. A little bit. Just a little bit of change would be nice. But based off of that, doesn't seem like they're going to do that. So yeah, I want to hear from you guys. Have you heard any news that they're going to be refreshing this truck? The packages are cool, but I think we need a refresh. We'll have to wait and see if they do that. See you guys in the next video.